Man, I can't even tell you guys. The last time I walked on a treadmill, man, it's been years, man. It's been a long, long time. But I'm actually gonna run a little experiment on myself for probably the next, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 weeks or so. And so I did a couple bodybuilding shows back in August. Those of you guys that have been following me know that. And so, my plan after the shows was to reverse diet, was to, get into a reverse diet, slowly bring my calories up, slowly bring my carbs up, and then, all was gonna be good. But man, I sunk my teeth into those first few chocolate chip cookies and those first couple bowls of Rice Krispies. And truth be told, the last couple of months, I've YOLO'd it a little too hard, a little harder than I would like. And so I've kind of bounced up a little higher than I would like my body weight to be, kind of going through the off season. And so I'm in a situation where now I want to trim off, a few Bowberry biscuits and bring things down to a little bit more of a reasonable, manageable level. And so I'm trying to create a calorie deficit through my nutrition and my cardio. Now, also, if you guys have been following me, you guys know that I am a huge fan of high intensity interval training for cardio. I still think that when it comes to optimizing your fat loss, that is definitely the way to go. You should go with high intensity interval training, which is why I haven't walked on a treadmill in many, many, many years. All that being said, I want to do a little experiment for these next 6, 7, 8 weeks. I'm not going to do any high intensity interval training. All I'm going to do is steady state cardio. And I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. Number one, my goal right now is not to optimize fat loss. My goal right now is to lose a little bit of fat and lose a little bit of body weight. But now that I'm kind of, segueing into the off season here, my goal is not to optimize fat loss. If it takes me a little bit longer to lose, the fat, the weight that I want to lose, because I'm only talking about like 5 or 6 pounds, and so that's okay. But the reason why I want to run this little experiment is because two things. Number one, I've been thinking a lot and doing a lot of research and kind of looking at the evidence and listening to some guys and some gals that I really respect in the world of fitness. And it got me to kind of realize something, that high intensity interval training can be very taxing on your system. I mean, that might seem obvious, but I'm such a bonehead a lot of the time. Sometimes I kind of forget things that are super obvious. And so high intensity interval training is pretty taxing on your system. And so when you're doing that along with training really heavy, right? You only have so much energy to go around, right? Eventually you're gonna run out. Eventually your body's just gonna say, I'm not doing anymore, or you're just gonna feel like, trash, or you're just gonna, whatever. And so, in an effort to allow myself to recover more efficiently, more quickly from my weight training sessions, I'm gonna transition into very low intensity, steady state cardio. So instead of doing HIIT, I'm gonna do LISS, for those of you out there that love acronyms. Walking, the step mill. The step mill is another one that I really like. I may continue to cycle a little bit. The bike is what I usually like to use when I do my high intensity interval training, because it's, I'm 36, man. That's another aspect of this I'm gonna get into here in a second, is, I gotta be kind of smart about, what I do from a longevity standpoint. So whatever cardio I do, I like to do things that are pretty low impact. So steady state cardio, not gonna do any HIIT, just gonna do some LISS. What else is there on the first one? Oh yeah. So the reason why I want to recover so much more efficiently, so much more quickly, more so now than when I'm training for a show, is because, when I'm training for a show, my goal is to optimize fat loss. So I'll be looking at HIIT as my primary mode of cardio. And, I try to just train to the best of my ability. Now, in the off season, my goal is to maximize my muscle gain. My goal is to maximize my strength gains. And so the recovery element of all of this is so much more important. And honestly, it should probably be more important to me when I'm in season. And that might be something that I kind of toy with the next time I go through a competition cycle. But the second reason why I want to do this little steady state experiment, I guess there's actually 3 reasons now that I'm thinking about it. But the second reason is, so I injured my right hamstring, it's probably about 5 or 6 months ago. And this thing just will not fully heal, man. I mean, I haven't deadlifted in like 5 or 6 months because I just can't, because I just know that if I continue to deadlift, it's going to continue to put my hamstring in jeopardy, and I don't want to do that. It's been slow, it's been really irritating, but I do feel it getting better. Well, I also think that the high intensity interval training, even on the cycle, even cycling on the bike over there, you know, probably does tax my hamstring more than I realize. I don't really feel it while I'm doing the movement, which is good, I guess. But I'm thinking, you know, this is not going to tax my system at all. And so the risk of continuing to injure my hamstring, or the risk of impeding the recovery of my hamstring, is pretty much zero when you're walking on a treadmill, or when you're walking outside, which is another thing I really like to do. But man, this brings back a lot of memories, man. Walking on a treadmill at the gym, I mean, I got my hands on the thing just like everybody else. Man, this brings back so many memories. When I was at Central Michigan, oh my gosh, man, when I first started competing, I had no idea what I was doing, like literally zero. But I thought I knew everything. And so one of the things I would do, and you can ask my roommate Anthony, he'll tell you, I used to walk like on a treadmill or outside for like 2-3 hours a day. That was how I did cardio. And that was when I used to use like light weights for high reps, because I thought that would get you, you know, kind of cut and shredded and defined. And man, you want to talk about being a bonehead. I mean, it started early with me. But anyway, so from a recovery standpoint, for my weight training, I want to switch to steady state. From a recovery standpoint, from an injury standpoint, I want to switch to steady state. But number 3, and this is not, I could do this with high intensity interval training too. I don't have to do LISS to do this. But I'm very intrigued. I've recently become very intrigued by, so you guys know that I'm really quantitative with everything that I do, right? I'm all about tracking my macros. I'm all about tracking nutrition. I'm all about dialing everything in pretty much to a science. Well, the one thing I've never really tried to do is kind of measure how many calories am I creating, how big of a deficit am I creating with my nutrition, how big of a deficit am I creating with my cardio. I've never really actually like tried to figure that out from like an equation standpoint. And so I'm actually going to do that for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, probably through the rest of 2017. Because I want to do this really slowly, because I don't want to lose any muscle. You know, if I've gained any muscle since the show, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to put that in jeopardy. And so, again, I could do this with high intensity interval training if I wanted to, but I'm going to do it with my steady state cardio too. And so you can kind of pretty easily measure, or at least approximate, how many calories do you burn when you walk outside, how many calories do you burn on the machine. I mean, the machines tell you. And the accuracy of those is a little bit in question, but nevertheless, it does give you some baseline. And so in my Google spreadsheet that I have, I've got, you know, I just started working on this last night, and I'm really excited. So I've got, you know, my nutrition deficit, my cardio deficit, and then like weight training and stuff. Obviously you burn calories when you do that, but I don't really count that. To me, that's kind of bonus. And that all works itself out with your metabolic rate and, you know, kind of these variables in the equation that you can't exactly measure. So that's it, man. I'm kind of excited about this little steady state experiment. And honestly, you know, for as much as I kind of bash it, and as much as big of a fan as I am of high intensity interval training, I kind of enjoy steady state, you know. And another thing is, you know, I can, while I'm doing steady state, man, I can do a video, right? I can talk with you guys. I can do work, I can answer emails, I can do tweets, I can do Instagram, I can do whatever I want to do. I can write articles, I can do all kinds of stuff, right? When you're doing intervals, you gotta kind of focus on the interval. I mean, you really can't, especially the way I do them, kind of all out, life or death. I mean, it pretty much takes everything you've got. Now, interval sessions are shorter than the walks will be, so there's that aspect too, but, you know, I don't know, man. I think that's pretty much it. And man, I'm already like 10 or 11 minutes in. This is great. I might have to do a video every day because time just flew by. So that's all I got for you, man. I will keep you guys updated and let you guys know how my little experiment goes.